I hope you guys are having a lovely summer vacation so far and you're able to do all the fun things that you want to do. This week, we definitely had a rather unique week around here. It was so fun, but we ended up hosting 3 separate times. So I wanted to bring you guys along for each of the different events that we had hosted at our house this past week. If it is not already obvious, this video was recorded during the week of 4th of July. And my nieces, as many of you guys know, I have 4 nieces, 3 who are older and love to sew and make outfits and match and all that fun stuff. So they had been talking about wanting to make matching outfits for the 4th of July. And the week of 4th of July came around and I was like, okay, if we're going to do this, we need to do this. So we decided to host a girls' night / sewing night at my house. So this was actually recorded the day before the party, or I guess the event, and I cut out everything so that whenever they got there, we could hit the ground running, getting these really fun matching 4th of July skirts made. We decided to use a very simple but super cute free pattern from Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. Their ballet bow skirt is just rectangles, but is the cutest skirt with these cute little ties. I'll show some clips of it at the end. And it was a very assembly line friendly skirt, which was great with all the girls because we had one girl on pressing, one girl on turning straps out, another on sewing, and these came together very, very quickly. So if you have little girls or people who are excited about sewing, this is definitely a very fun project to make in a group, and is a free pattern. And the best part is that it is all rectangle, so you can customize the size really, really easily. So I definitely recommend this pattern. Having the ability to host 3 times in 1 week and host my sisters for a sewing night is definitely goes back to one of the things I talk about all the time on here, which is just the freedom that you have in being a young stay-at-home mom. These types of events fill me up so much and get me so excited. I am a capital E extrovert, as my husband says. So whenever people talk about self-care for moms and all that kind of stuff, for me, that does not mean alone time. I don't need alone time as much as I really love a fun social event. This is my form of self-care, I guess. I love to be able to host and to be able to spend a day cutting out the skirts and then planning a little fun meal that we're going to make. And that being, there's just so much freedom in that. And that is so, it definitely contributes to my joy of being a mom. And so I guess I say all of that to encourage you guys, or I don't know, just talk about how freeing being a stay-at-home mom can be and how fun it can be to host a little fun girls' night at your house. Before we move on to the next event, I want to tell you guys about the recipe we made for girls' night. We did shrimp tacos with an avocado lime crema, and it was so yummy. I am going to work this into my regular rotation because it was so good. And one of the reasons I love shrimp, I also say this a lot, is it doesn't have to be thawed. So you can just pull it out of the freezer. So I like to keep a bag on hand. And this is definitely a lovely, so yummy way to use it. The next event we had going on this week was a guys' night with some of my husband's college friends and their wives, obviously. And we decided to make pizzas on the uni for everybody. My husband's favorite week of the entire year is the 4th of July. He loves summer just like I do, and he loves fireworks. And so he loves to host for the 4th of July. So he decided that he also wanted to host on Friday night just to kind of keep the fun times rolling. Our fourth party was on Saturday, and so Friday during the day, we prepped everything for Friday night gathering and the 4th of July party. So that obviously consisted of making the pizza dough. I got that going earlier in the day, probably, sometime in the morning. And then also prepping all the pizza toppings. We decided to pre-make 8 pizzas. And so what we do in that scenario when we are pre-making pizzas is we par bake them, which I can talk about later. But basically I wanted to get all the toppings ready for the pizza so that when it came time to build them, it was really fast and easy. We could just pull them out of the fridge and get them all built. And then also on Friday, we decided to do as much food prep as possible for Saturday. This is something that we have learned throughout hosting, just throughout the past few years that we've been married, is that if you can get as much food prep done as possible, it makes your day of party so much more fun for you. And we learn lessons every time we host. Like we were like, okay, so we need to have the food tables more ready and all that kind of stuff. But it used to be that we would do build your own pizzas and I was like rolling out all the dough while people were there, which is so silly whenever you can par bake. And we also learned that when it comes to burgers for the 4th of July party, we can patty them all up the day before. And we actually don't have a grill. So we bake them, which works really, really well. So we patty them all up, get them on their sheets. And literally all we have to do on the day of the party is pop them in the oven and get them cooked. So I say all of that, I guess, is like little things that we've learned. I'm definitely not an expert at hosting, but these are just little things that we have learned throughout the past couple years about making hosting a little more enjoyable so that you can actually enjoy the party as well. I have mentioned on this channel before that I am in the process of learning to love hosting. I think that a feeling that a lot of women can relate to, or at least I hope a lot of you guys can relate to this, is the feeling of self-consciousness whenever you host. Now, I am not self-conscious of my home being clean enough or really anything like that. I am finding myself less and less self-conscious overall, but I usually get self-conscious that people had a good time, that they were comfortable, that the food was good, and that they overall found it like worthy of their time to come over. And whenever I get in those, I guess I'm talking about this because I feel like this is a feeling that a lot of women can relate to. One, I think about the last time I went to a party and how I was not critical at all. Like I always tell people the plan could literally be like, hey, we're going to come over and we're going to watch paint dry. And I'm like, okay, as long as, there's something to snack on and we can talk, that is enough for me. I will have fun. I would never have thought like, oh my gosh, that was so boring. And so to just kind of remember that it's not even about you anyways, that's a really important thing for me, to know that it's just about creating a comfortable, fun space for people to be and to be able to socialize and hang out and just grow in friendship and not worry so much about things that people are probably not even thinking at your house. I want to pop back to pizza prep because I know a lot of you guys, because you've told me in the comments, have unis. And so this is just how we structure our pizza parties, if this is any help to you. So we par bake to where the pizzas will be done about 30 minutes before people come over. So par baking is where you just pop it in the oven at the highest temp for about 6 or 7 minutes, and then you can polish it off in the uni. And we do the uni cooking whenever people are there. It's fun for people to watch. It's outside, and they have a really fresh, warm pizza without having to do all the work while people are there. On Saturday morning, I just did the final steps for the party that evening. So just getting produce cut up and put away in the fridge so that we can just set it out, and just spending some time relaxing, getting ready for people to come over. I really, really love how much we have gotten to host, how many people that we have that live close to us. It is not lost on me how big of a community that we have and how much of a blessing that is. At the end of the week, I just was thinking, this is so great that I get to see friends and family all week, hang out outside. It's summer. That blessing is definitely not lost on me. Sometimes when I am on YouTube or social media and I see all of these fun events, I find myself thinking, I wish I could do that. I wish that I had friends that did that. And I think this week taught me that sometimes you might have to be that friend. You might have to be the friend that hosts a fun sewing night. And if you want those events to exist, I can go out and make those happen. I can be the one to host them. And probably other people are wanting to do that too. So I hope this was encouraging to you and maybe even inspires you to host a little girls' night or a fun event that you wish existed. Maybe this is your chance to host that event and create it for the women or people in your area. As always, I hope you guys have an amazing summer week, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.